Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Alrighty, we're live, and as you guys can tell by title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on more game logic in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That said, the reason I actually did not stream yesterday is because something really important came up, and I did not have time to actually let you guys know. Apparently, I'm going to be moving on to a different place, because apparently this place needed like way too many fixes. That said, the reason I did not stream the day before that was because I did have an exam, and I had to actually complete that stuff. Okay, so let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. And guys, I'm actually so shocked that I was able to stream today because apparently I didn't have much time as well. I got kind of lucky. Alright, so let's say something like, let's say I'm live exclamation. Okay, let's see. And guys, again, one thing bad with Claude is that I gotta always hit the send icon instead of clicking enter, because apparently what enter does in Claude is basically the same as what Shift Enter does in like Gemini or ChatGPT. It gets me to like a line below that. That said, you already said that you're getting distracted. Focus up, and guys, this is the chat from last stream. Okay, I asked you a question. What raycasting practice do you want to work on today? Option 1, destroy objects on click. Okay, I won't really be working much on raycasting this stream. That is going to be the focus of next stream. This stream, I want to work on the summoning logic because I did not have time to work with Unreal Engine at all for the past 2 days type stuff. That said, before I actually do start, let me show you guys what I did, what I worked on last stream. Okay, let me go ahead and run the code real quick. Guys, the first time it always takes longer, and I'm kind of out of breath. Let me drink some water as well while this is actually running. Hold up, give me a sec. Just go ahead and open this real quick. Okay, let's see. This should, okay, it does say result succeeded. It should apparently open Unreal Engine. There we go. Okay, let's just go ahead and grab Unreal Engine here. Now, once it opens, the thing that I worked on 2 days ago, which was basically last, let's say Thursday, I worked on the movement logic where I could go ahead and move my player using key controls, but I did not really add any summoning logic because I ran out of time. I'm going to be working on that this stream. The next stream I will work on adding raycasting, and then if I did master raycasting by then, I'm going to move on to like UIs in Unreal Engine. Okay, that's it. I don't know why it's taking too long to open. It should probably be done by now. Okay, let me check if the stream sync good here. There we go. Okay, perfect. And what is this? Something new. There we go. Okay, there we go. Finally, Unreal Engine's on. Okay, let's go ahead and extend this and go with something like remember my choices. Hit yes. This is gonna open my MC defaults. Then I'm gonna go ahead and click content. Let's go to content. Double click new map. And this is a new map. If I run the code, I basically worked on the movement logic, which, there we go. It's like, why was it here working? Okay, where I can move forward, backwards, left and right, and I have my mouse that moves and all that stuff. Now, the next thing that I'm going to be actually working on is adding some summoning logic. In order to add summoning logic, firstly, I need an object that I would want to summon. Let's just go ahead and exit this real quick. So let's open my Unreal Engine again. I'm gonna go to something like tools. Let's go to new class. I'm gonna create a new character class because I want to go ahead and summon someone. Let's say the thing that I do want to summon is going to be a meat. I want to summon a meat in my window. Then I'm going to go ahead and create a C++ class. Let's wait for it to add it to projects, okay? And I think I should have named my title and thumbnail summoning logic, but I didn't have much time because if you guys did like come to my channel, you guys would have noticed I scheduled my stream today at I think like 9 a.m. or something, but then I started streaming at it's 4 p.m. right now. I've been busy for all that time. I thought I was gonna stream early in the morning and get it over with, but apparently it wasn't. I think whatchamacallit didn't go as planned. Okay, there we go. Now that I have my meets class and my meets with header files, I do not think that I need some kind of attributes to them because I just want them to disappear for the time being or like appear in my screen for the time being. So I'm going to go to my sharpshooter, or here's the thing. The object that I want to summon. Maybe it might be my target. Meat sounds pretty appropriate here. Okay, because I could always change the name. Hopefully I can. Okay, so now under my RMB action, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment. Guys, why is this place kind of stealthed up today? Okay, maybe I'm just going to remove this. There we go. Okay, this place doesn't feel that spacious for some reason today. Probably because I'm not used to it. Okay, that's it. Firstly, I want to go ahead and let's say store. I'm gonna go with something like store my character in a class. Let's go with something like in a class. Actually, in a container. in order to summon. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to firstly, let's say, add a U property, okay, which I want to be able to edit anywhere. And I want the category to be equal to something like, let's say, summoning. And I won't go with blueprint reader only because I don't really have a need for it. Okay, and then I'm going to go with something like the T subclass of. I'm going to go with T subclass of with the prof ankle braces. Inside the prof ankle braces, what is something that I might need? I'm going to go ahead and need my class's name, which in this case, it's going to be my Amit. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and represent it using a local variable called something like summon meet. There we go, and then I'm going to go ahead and enter the semicolon. Now, the reason I see a red underline here is because I did not include my meet. So I'm going to go with something like hashtag include. I'm going to go with something like meet.h, which is my meets header file. Then I'll hit Control S to save the code. Once I'm done with this, let's say I'm going to go ahead and create another comment or add another comment that is going to be called something like summon action, because I do need a specific action that's going to be in charge to trigger a summoning action, or that's going to be charged to trigger a summon. So I'm going to name it summon action. Okay, for my summon action, I'm going to be creating U property. Let's go with something like U property, where I want my U property to be edited anywhere. I want to be able to edit my U property anywhere. And then I want it to be blueprint read only. I only want my blueprint to be able to read my U property. Let's go with something like read. Okay, and lastly, I want my U property of my summon action to be organized / categorized in a category called something like input, because technically I'm going to be actually giving Unreal Engine a input read, and depending on what input I gave, it's going to check if that input is associated with my summon action, and if it is, I summon someone. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and now use the U input action. There we go. My U input actions is class that I created and represented using a pointer called something like summon action. And honestly, I think that's about it, right? In case I want to summon multiple objects, I want to summon my meet, you click using the M button. In case I want to summon bots and all that stuff as well, I might go with something like M action. Okay, this is specifically going to be for checking if I click M on my keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and add a U property, which is going to be edit anywhere. I want my M action to be blueprint read only. I want my blueprint to only be able to read my M action, not really edit it. And lastly, my category is going to be equal to input. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to go with something like another U input action. Okay, this class is going to be represented by a pointer called something like M action. There, and the reason I actually use my U input and from where I actually get it is I've already created an empty class or declared an empty class, which I will later be defining in my C++ file. Speaking of which, since I created an M action, I'm going to go ahead and add a boolean check as well of P is... What's up, my boy? How you doing, Appreciate you joining the stream. How you doing, Animatronics? Did I pronounce your name? Appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go with something like is M pressed. I'm initially going to set that to false, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go under my boolean white checks to go ahead and check if my M has been pressed or released. I'm going to either set my boolean of M pressed to be either true or either false based on which function has been executed. For example, I'm going to go with something like M pressed. If my M pressed function has been executed, my boolean variable of is M pressed is going to be set to true. In the other hand, if my M underscore released is executed, my boolean variable of M released is going to be set to true. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and create a white function called something like summon, which does not require any parameters, ending with a semicolon. And I think for the time being, this is all that I need for my summon action or for my summoning logic. So I'm going to move on to my sharpshooters C++ file. And in my C++ file, is there something that I want to include before I actually start my summoning process? I actually do not think, and in case I actually say I do not think, it's because I'm not just warmed up. Because guys, I feel like the past 2 days have been really hectic for me to actually review my program type stuff. But I think it's not like a whole different language to me. Okay, so firstly what I'm going to do, is define the m released and m pressed function that I've declared in my header files. To do that, I'm gonna go with something like m functions. And then just to save some time, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part, paste it here, there. So if my void sharpshooter the function, I'm gonna go ahead and use that to get a hold of my m underscore pressed function. If my m is being pressed, I want my boolean variable of is m pressed to be equal to true, ending with a semicolon. In the other hand, whoops, I think I ran my program by mistake. What up, guys? There we go. In the other hand, if my m underscore released, released, has been executed, then I want my boolean of is m released to be equal to false, ending with a semicolon. By released, I meant pressed. There we go. Okay, and I actually think that's about it for the time being type stuff. Okay, let's see. Now, once I'm done getting or defining these two functions that I've declared, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to, let's say, my summon function, which I'm gonna be adding right under my look function. Oh, like, have you tried beeline already? Actually, I have not tried beeline. Although after the series, I will definitely have a mini series where I actually work with beeline, maybe like a month-long series or something like that. That said, for my summon function, I'm gonna go with something like void. Whoops, I'm gonna maybe go ahead and copy this again just to save some time. Paste that here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and declare or define the summon function that I've declared. In my summon function, there are three basic components that I might need. The first component is going to be me getting my world. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like get world. To get my world, let's say I'm going to go ahead and do something. I might actually go with my Unreal's world, which is going to be represented by a pointer called world. That is going to be equal to the get worlds function. This gives me access to my actual world. Now I'm going to go ahead and check something under this. Okay, maybe I kind of forgot, so I'm going to right click my Visual Studio, go to mini project, and guys, the reason I kind of forgot this is because I didn't have much practice with this, because I did not really stream for 2 whole days. One day because of exam, and yesterday something really important came up. So maybe just going to go ahead and look at a reference for a quick little brush up. Let's exit my Unreal Engine configurations. Okay, there we go, summon function. So I need my new world. I check if my boolean of m is pressed. Okay. I get my spawn location, I get my spawn rotation, I summon my meat on my window, and then I check if new meat is not null ptr, meat.add new meat. This is to create a vector, so I would have to create an array right here. So let me just get this in my other window so I can look at the reference as well. There, so basically in my sharpshooters as header files, I'm assuming that I need to add an array, right? Maybe in my C++ I need to add an array? Nope. Maybe in my meat, I need to add an array. Meets is header files array. Alright, but guys, let me check this part real quick. Okay, I don't really see an array here, so let's see. I'm positive that meets might need an array, right? LMB action, spawn meets, there we go. Okay, basically what array I was looking for. I thought this is going to be like Unreal's array at the top of my class, but apparently it's at the bottom, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a comment here that says store pointer of my meets instance in an array. Let's go with something like store pointer of my meets instance in an array. There we go. For my array, I'm going to go ahead and add a MTU property. And then I'm going to go with something like T subclass of, that is going to be meet summon, and then T array. Okay, with a pair of ankle braces of my A meet, which is going to be represented by a pointer of an array called something like meets. I might go with spawn meets as well. SPA spawned, SPAWNET. There we go, guys. I feel like my typing is still horrible because probably my fingers are not warmed up just yet. Okay, that said, LMB action, left mouse button, that is going to be for my raycasting, so I would not need that. Now, in my C++ file, so I'm going to go to my sharpshooters C++ file. there's a few things that I need. The first thing that I might need is going to be my get world. The second thing is going to be an if statement. I'm going to go ahead and apparently check. Let's scroll all the way down here. There we go. I'm going to check to see if my boolean of is empress is set to true. I'm going to do something because I only want to summon my meat when my M is being pressed down. Let me just check if I got any comments. Gotta check that. Okay, maybe not. So let's go back up here. There we go. Now, for my is impressed, I'm gonna go ahead and firstly do something. I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like get spawn SPAWN LOCATION. I'm gonna go ahead and get my spawn location. See, that looks better. Spawn location. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, actually, I think get makes more sense as well. For getting my spawn location, I'm gonna go with something like an vector, VECTOR, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like spawn location. That is going to be equal to my get actor, this function, get actor locations, this function. So I'm going to go ahead and get my actor's location and increase that location in a pair of parentheses of my get actor forward vector. There we go, get actor forward vector. Let's say multiplied by 300 .f there. Okay, basically what this means is wherever my actor is located at, I want to go ahead and increase my distance by my get actor forward vector, which one my actor is facing, where my actor is located. I want to spawn it 300 units away from where my actor is, if that makes any sense. Then I'm just going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to go with something like get, maybe instead of adding a whole new comment, I might go with something like get spawn location and spawn rotation. Okay, I'm going to go with something like spawn rotation. Basically, let me add something like f rotator first, which is going to be represented by a local variable called something like spawn rotation. ROTATION, that is going to be equal to my get control rotation. Now, this is get control rotation, this function. Now, basically what the spawn rotation means is wherever my player is being spawned, my spawn location, I want my spawn object to face or to look somewhere based on where my character, my sharpshooter, was facing while summoning him. If my character was facing upwards while summoning him, the main location or the main pivot point is going to point upwards. My meat is going to be spawned. My meat will be spawned facing upwards, else it's going to spawn facing downwards or left or towards the right, diagonally, horizontally, vertically, if that all makes sense. Okay, now once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and actually spawn my meat on my windows. To do that, spawn meat on level. Spawn meat on level. I'm gonna go ahead and spawn my meat on level. So I'm gonna add an if statement to, actually not an if statement, I'm gonna go with something like a meat, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like new meat. Okay, that is going to be equal to my world, which is my charter, that points towards spawn actor. I want to go ahead and spawn a actor, which is technically going to be my meat. So I'm going to fill in a parameter of my meat, and then a pair of parentheses, which requires a few parameters. First is going to be something like, what was the name of my meat summon? Summon action, spawned meats. That's spawned meats, not summon meats. There we go. Let's go with something like summon meats. And then I want to go ahead and give it my spawn location and my spawn rotation. Okay, and basically what's happening here is that I went ahead and I added my a meat. This is my character class's name that I want to summon, which was represented by a pointer called new meat. And then I set that equal to my world, which actually gets me access to Mandrail's entire level. Use that arrow mark operator to point towards a template called spawn actor. What would my template consist of? It consists of the class that I want to summon, which is my meat's character class. And then I used a pair of parentheses to add the 3 parameters that I really want, which is basically who I want to summon, where I want to summon, which way do I want my summon to face. That's about it. Let me just check if I got any commands. Okay, maybe not. So let's go back to my Visual Studio. There we go. Okay, and then once I'm done summoning my meat, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement here that checks something. I'm gonna check if my new meat exists. Let's go with something like if my new meat is not equal to null PTR. Then I want to go ahead and append my meat that has been summoned inside of my array. So I have some kind of memory or history as to how many meats I summoned, because I want multiple meats to summon. We would be needing the array to later on delete the meats from my window as well. So I'm gonna go with something like my spawned meats. Was it called spawned meats? Yup, it was. Okay, my spawned MEATS, my spawn meats, is gonna go ahead and use the add function where I want to go ahead and add my new meat, which was being summoned in my window, in it, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go with something like a G engine that points towards a add on screen debug message. I want to go ahead and add a add on screen debug message that displays a certain text on my window. I'm gonna go with something like text. There we go. Okay, now for my text, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say, my bad guys, I forgot. Before I really add a text, I need to go ahead and add a few parameters. For example, -1, how long do I want it to be displayed on my window? Let's say 1.f seconds. And then what color do I want to be? I'm gonna go with f color as a structure, and let's say I want my meat to be something like red. I think red is a pretty good color. And then I'm gonna go with something like a text. Maybe my text can go in a new line. There. My text here is gonna say something like meat has been spawned. I'm gonna go with something like meat has been spawned. SPAWNED. Exclamation. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, whoops, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and control S to save the code and work on my final things that I have to do in my Visual Studio, which is binding. I'm gonna go with something like bind summon action. In order to bind my summon action, I'm gonna go with EIC, which is a short for enhanced input component that points towards a bind action. Okay, my bind action is this function that requires a few parameters. First is my action name. In this case, it's my M action. Second is my E trigger event. What is my trigger type? Okay, let's go with since it is my meat and I want to summon one meat per click, I'm gonna go with started. Okay, so if M action has been started on this, actually, what up guys? Am I doing this sleepy? Summon action, there we go. If my summon action has been triggered on this object, I want to do what my summon function tells me to do. I want to do what the memory address of my summon function tells me to do. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And then next up, once I'm done with binding my summon action, I'm going to add another comment that says something like bind M action. I want to bind my M action. I'm going to go with enhanced input component that points towards my bind actions as function, where this is going to be my M action. Okay, and the second parameter is going to be a trigger event. So I'm going to go with something like a E trigger event, which is going to be using a scope resolution operator to point towards a type. Now, I want my M action to go ahead and have a start and a finish to it. So I'm going to go with start. If my M action has started on this object, I want to go ahead and do what this function tells me to do. One tiny annoying thing here is this. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this to save some time. There. Getting really tedious to copy, I see. There we go. Okay, so I want to do what my m_press function tells me to do. And if you guys do remember, basically what the m_press function does is it sets my boolean of ismpress to be set to true, which is kind of like a key or a password or a, let's say, verification check in order to summon my meats. STARTED. Okay, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go with something like enhance input component that points towards a bind action again. Okay, which is going to be something like M action, and then I'm going to be requiring the most basic E trigger event. Okay, but this time my check is going to be completed. So if my M action has been completed on this object, I want to do what my M underscore released function tells me to do, ending with a semicolon, and then I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. That's about it. Okay, man, I see the updates of previous character model progress. May I see the updates of previous character model progress? Do you mean like my progress so far in this project? I could actually show that. I was actually gonna do that. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go to my content drawer now, and now that I'm done adding all my Visual Studio codes, I'm gonna go ahead and work on implementing a few input actions. For example, I'm gonna go with something like action here. This is going to be called something like M action, ACTION. And then I want to go ahead and create another action. Let's go with something like action. This is going to be called something like summon action. Or maybe I'm going to go with something like IA underscore summon. And I think I just did a small mistake here for my M action. Where's my M action? There. Right click, I'm going to rename. This is going to be IA underscore M. Okay, perfect. Both my IA underscore M and my summon action won't really be needing any kind of parameters to it. So I'm just going to hit Control Alt F11 to compile my code real quick. Control Alt F11. Oh, you're joking, right? Fine, I can live compile it from here manually. Which I don't really recommend live compiling, but for some reason my Control Alt F11 is not really working. Maybe because I have another Visual Studio open. Let's exit that. I didn't really go or my compilation failed. Why did it fail? Let's go with live compile again real quick. Okay, it said I had an error in the spawn meets.add. So the way I append my meets to my array of meat. Spawn meets.add. Okay, I guess I'm going to right click this. Let's go to something like raycast. Okay, by raycast I meant mini project. My bad, guys. Hold up, give me a sec. Let's exit that. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and right click and open my mini project. This is like another Visual Studio project that I'm looking for. I'm using as a reference because I did not really program for 2 whole days because I was a bit busy. Okay, let's check this up. So in my meets header files, nothing. Okay, let's see in my Alex's header files. I have a destroy summon function as well, which I will be adding later on. And have this thing. I have category, which is going to be edit anywhere. I did not really add my array anywhere. That might be a reason of that, which is causing that error. Here, I did not add an array as well. I went with engine/engine header files, basic things. Okay, but what are you doing? Actually, I did not really have time to program for the past 2 days because I was like pretty busy. So I'm kind of reviewing or like brushing up myself while working on the summon logic and the raycasting logic. That's it. I mean, long story. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way down here. Backspace pressed, which I will be adding later on again. RMB pressed, RMB released. Not really that necessary because I've already added it. So it's spawn meets.add. Did I end it with a semicolon? I can't be that stupid to not end mine with a semicolon, right? So okay, well it does end with a semicolon. There, okay, so if it's not null PDR, then I go ahead and do this, yada yada. This is my shoot function. I'm not working on the shoot function just for the time being, but and function done, that done. Okay, let me try running it again. I think it was just my Unreal Engine kind of bugging me last time I tried to run it. Maybe. Let's go here. Let's go with build project. I'm gonna go with something like build solution. While it's building, I'm gonna drink some water. I'm actually very thirsty. What up, guys? Let me just kind of drink this up real quick. "51 succeeded, 1 failed." So what are you doing? Actually, I'm working on my summon logic because I did not really have time to work on it for the past 2 days because I had an exam one day and yesterday something really important came up. That's one reason you guys can see me actually talking like I'm pretty exhausted. Have kind of a sore throat as well. That said, guys, I kind of blame this on my college's schedule. It's way too busy. Like, I've got a quiz this whatchamacallit, this Tuesday, so gotta work on that as well. Usually quizzes are supposed to be on Thursdays, but then apparently the schedule changed up and it's set to be on Tuesday. Okay, that said, let's wait for this to load again. There we go, I think it's done. Okay, now pretty sure I should be able to compile my code. I'm gonna go with Control Alt F11, which apparently does not work. I wonder why my Control Alt F11 doesn't work. Maybe because I need to disable my actual typings. Control Alt F11. What if I lock this? Would that work? Okay, let's wait for this to compile first. That's the main thing that I gotta focus on here. Okay, it's still compiling for changes. What if I click show console? If I go here and hit show console. Ah, this is a bug. Let's bring my console up here. Okay, why is it taking so long to compile? Guys, my sore throat is kind of killing me as well. Okay, let's see. Is it just me or did it always take this long to compile? There we go. There we go. No PDB file successfully patched. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and extend this thing from here real quick. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and click my sharpshooter and then type something like input here. In my input, I should magically be getting 2 inputs here of my summon action, which is going to be IA_summon, and M action, which is going to be IA_M. And then I'm going to hop onto my IMC default, where I'm going to click the plus twice. One is going to be for my summon action, which I want to go ahead and summon every time I click M on my keyboard. And then I want to add another action, which is going to be in charge of my IA_M, where I want to go ahead and summon something when I click something like M. Okay, then in my new map, I'm going to go ahead and click the F button here and try Control Alt F11 again. That works. I just hope it doesn't take too long here as well. For some reason, why is it taking so long? This doesn't make sense. It should be done really quick. That said, is there anything else that I'm missing? Oh yeah, I am missing one thing. I'm going to exit that real quick. And then I'm going to go to content. I'm going to go to something like content, map, blah, blah. C/C++ classes. In that, I'm going to go ahead and right click my character here. I'm going to create a blueprint class and call it something like BP_sharpshooter, which basically stands for blueprint_sharpshooter. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a class. This is going to be my blueprint class, where I'm going to go with something like summoning and add something to summon. I'm going to go ahead and set this to something like IA_summon. And then I'm going to go back to new map. I'm going to create a blueprint class. This is going to be BP_meets. My meets is blueprint class. I'm going to create a meets. This is going to be having, let's say, a static mesh. I'm going to go with something like a static mesh, where this is going to be my meet mesh. And then I'm going to decrease the scale a little, so I'm going to go with R. Why is this so... Already mic testing. Okay, let me go to my gameplay screen. Alright guys, my PC for some reason just crashed, so I hope my work is saved. Let's go ahead and open my Visual Studio real quick. Let me just go ahead and grab it here. It's going to be called Raycast. There, I'm going to go ahead and run my code through my Visual Studio. For some reason, a mouse stopped working. I was like, wait, why is my OBS not really capturing my voice? And then I was like, oh shoot. Okay, let's run the program from here real quick. I hope everything is saved. Let me, while that's happening, gonna go ahead and open my chats and all that stuff. Let's get everything up here. And guys, it's so annoying when my PC stops working randomly and I'm like, is it just me that thinks that everything is glitched? Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and get this here real quick. Let's exit the Discord server. Let's go back here. Let's exit that. Let's wait for Unreal Engine to open real quick. Okay, I think it's running. Okay, let's wait for it to open real quick. While it's opening, I might bring some water. Because I think I'm kind of thirsty. Okay, let's see. There we go. For some reason, I think the compilation just takes long for the first time, but apparently not. It takes like really long every single time. There we go. Let's wait for the Visual Unreal Engine to open real quick as well. Okay, and fingers crossed it's gonna save everything, because there are times when it actually does not save a thing. Okay, let's see. There we go. Restore packages. I want to go ahead and restore everything. Let's go with something like restore selected. Let's wait for Unreal Engine to open. There. Would you like to reopen it? I would like to reopen. Oh my gosh, not a damn thing was saved. I mean, it's fine. I didn't do all that much. Okay, here, let's see. So what else did I miss? IA summon stored, IA underscore M stored. I'm assuming everything is stored if I were to go to sharpshooter. Go with something like input. Summon action is IA underscore summon. M action is IA underscore M. And then in my MC default, I'm gonna click plus here. I'm gonna go with summon action here. Under my summon action, I'm gonna click M because M is in charge of summoning someone. And then I'm gonna go with something like M action, which is gonna be initiated when I click M. Guys, I think my throat is like way too sore out here. And then I'm gonna go with something like summoning. That is IA underscore summon. I want this to be BP underscore meet, which I'm assuming it kind of glitched off after I created my meet tribe. Let's go to all. There is nothing much here, so I'm going to go to C/C++ classes. I think I gotta create a new sharpshooter class. Let's go with BP underscore sharpshooter. And then let's create. Oh, it did not really save my sharpshooters as class. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing much that I really did. Only thing that I gotta add is something like my IA underscore summon here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab this up there. Let's go to my new class again, content drawer. I'm gonna right click my meet sys class and create a blueprint class, naming it something like BP underscore meet. BP underscore meet. And then let's go ahead and create a meet class. In my meet class, I'm gonna go ahead and add a static mesh, static. Okay, there we go. Inside my static mesh, I'm gonna click none here, and let's say add a meet sys mesh. Whoops, I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. And then I'm gonna click something like R, and then decrease the size as much as I can. There, I mean, I think that's as much as I can, right? Because I don't want the meat to be too big, nor do I want it to be too small. Okay, let's go with W and get myself inside the capsule just so I can capture collisions. Okay, let's get myself a bit here. Let's get myself a bit back. And just out of curiosity, can't I scale myself a bit lower? 0.2. Let's go with something like 0.2 and 0.2 as well. Okay, what if I went with 0.1? Let's try something like 0.1. And then let's change that to 1. And then lastly, let's change that to 0.1. Okay, that is small. Okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna hit something like R. Actually, not R. I'm gonna hit E to turn myself around in the x-axis. Whoops, did something wrong. I meant in the z-axis, 90 degrees to face the pivot point. Let's go with 180, might as well. There. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and click W, get myself there. Okay, I'm positive this is gonna be pretty good now. Whoops. Oh, up, there we go. because I am facing my meat, I am in my capsule, and I'm facing my pivot point, I mean. There. Okay, that's good now. Wait, I just might want to get myself a bit back. There we go. A bit in front. Guys, I'm not kind of picky and all that stuff. I think I am. Okay, that's pretty much it. Once I'm done actually adding my meat in here, is there anything else that I want to add? Let's think. I want to maybe enable my gravities. I mean, my physics. I might go with PHY, SICS. Do I want to simulate physics? Fine, sure, why not? Okay, now once I'm done with that, I'm going to hit compile and go to my BP underscore actor. Select my BP underscore meat here, and that's about it. I'm going to compile this as well. Let's go all the way down here, select my BP underscore meat here, hit Control S to save the code. Go to content drawer, I'm going to save all. There we go. Now, lastly, once my packages are saved, I'm going to hit Control Alt F11 to save everything. Continue, stop saving assets, continue, fine. Clear. Okay, let's exit that real quick. Let's open my Unreal Engine back here. Let's try saving everything again. Sure. Save packages. Why is it taking so long? Okay, the asset game slash input IMC underscore default has failed to save. Stop saving all assets and return to the editor. Try to attempt save all the assets again. Okay, continue, skip, and save. Okay, let's go with a retry. Maybe I'm gonna hit the X here. Let's go to IMC default and see what's wrong. That's it. Let's save here. There, everything saved. There we go. Now let's hit Control Alt F11 real quick to compile the code. Let's wait for this to compile real quick. There we go. Maybe I go ahead and exit that. There we go. For some reason, my antivirus just whatchamacallit, just pops up when I'm using Unreal Engine. Now this is my character. Every time I click meet, wow. Okay, not bad, not bad. I kind of simulate physics and all that stuff. Wait, can I look up and down? Left, right, back, front. Up, down is not there in my IMC defaults. Don't I have a look function? I have a look function. What up, guys? I have yaw, I have pitch, I have look. While RMB is being pressed. So while my RMB is being pressed, I should be able to look up, down, which I cannot look. Oh, I see why. Because my y-axis does not have a modifier of my Swiss input axis value. I've done this mistake way too many times. I know exactly what's wrong. Let's run the code. Up, down, left, right. Nice. Let's spam my M's and maybe spawn a bajillion meats, I guess. Alright guys, this is getting kind of fun. And since they have physics, I cannot push them. At least they've got physics, right? At least they've got some kind of life to them. What if I go with M? There we go. And then I want to turn myself. Okay, that's pretty much good. Now that meat has spawned, I'm gonna work on a destroy function where I want to go ahead and destroy the meat if I did a certain thing. If that makes any sense. So for that, I'm assuming that I want to go ahead and destroy my meat using the backspace button. So I might go ahead and create another comment called something like backspace. Let's go with backspace action. Gee, how are you doing, Pixels? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, for my backspace action, I'm gonna go with something like uProperty, PROPERTY, where I want my backspace action to be edited to anywhere. I want to be able to edit my backspace action anywhere. I want my backspace action to be blueprint read only. Okay, hi bro, hiding Pixels. There we go, let's go with blueprint read only. And lastly, I want my backspace action, excuse me guys, I want my backspace actions as category to be equal to something like input, because I want it to be categorized inside of my input, because technically backspace is considered to be an input. And then I'm gonna go with something like a U input action. So let's go with something like a U input action, okay, which is now going to be represented by a pointer called something like backspace action. So I'm gonna go with something like a back, SPACE ACTION. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, under my void summon function, I'm going to go with another void function called something like destroy summon. This is going to be a function in charge of me destroying my summon. How would it know what all did I summon? Using the array that I've created, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now let's hit Control S to save the code. And I might go ahead and create another boolean check here. That is going to be boolean is backspace pressed. This is going to be in charge to see if my backspace is being pressed. Initially, it's going to be false. And then I'm going to go with two other void functions. First is going to be something like the backspace underscore pressed with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon, and another void function called something like backspace underscore released with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. And then I hit Control S to save the code. Now let's go ahead and define the functions that I've declared in my C++ file. To do that, I might really go with something like right click. Let's open my mini projects as a reference because I don't fully know much about the destroy function. That's it. Might drink some water because I am kind of thirsty. Hold up, guys. Let me just kind of open this up. And in case you guys do want to see or be able to view my entire window, make sure to move on to my my landscape mode, which is my horizontal stream. Because in the portrait mode, you guys can just see a portion of my stream. I try to get everything inside my portrait mode, but it's almost impossible to do that stuff. But that said, I'm now going to go to my C++ file and work on my destroy summon function. So under my summon function, let's say I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like the destroy destroy summon function. This is going to be the function that is going to be used in order to destroy my summons. To do so, I'm going to go with, well, I guess my copying doesn't work. I guess I'm going to go ahead and copy this. There we go. From my, seriously? Control C, Control V. From my A sharpshooters class, I want to go ahead and get a hold of my destroy summon function. Let's go with destroy summon, summon, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. And hold up, guys, I guess I'm getting a call. Let me just check what's up. Let's go with something like here. And say on stream, what's up? Okay. Okay, that's it. Let me just go ahead and close this up here real quick. Now, okay, let me just say urgent. Let's say something like I'm streaming. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's just go ahead and keep this here. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and open my Visual Studio real quick. In my Visual Studio, I'm gonna... how long will I take to stream? Let's say, how long have I been streaming? Hold up, guys, this might actually be kind of urgent. Let's see. Why does it say that I've just been streaming for 14 minutes? What about... okay, wait, that's something else. Let me open my chats up here, because I think this is something important. Okay, I've been streaming for 50, I think 20 more minutes. 20... okay, we can wait 1 hour. They could probably wait an hour. Okay. Alright, I guess that's good. Let me open my stream back up here. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and get Visual Studio back up here again. So, Visual Studio back up here. There we go. Okay, so now for my destroy summons and function, let's see what all do we need. Firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement that checks if my boolean of is a backspace rest is set to true. If this is set to true, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna add another if statement that checks if my spawned spawnnet meets is number. Spawn meets is basically the array that I had. So if my spawn meets is num is, let's say, greater than 0, if the meets that I've used to spawn is more than 0, I'm gonna do something. Which means if my array consists of at least one meet in it, I'm gonna go with something like a meet, my class's name, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like last meet. I'm gonna set that equal to spawned SPAWNET spawn meets dot the last function. Okay, this basically gives me access to the last meet in my array. The reason I am getting access to the last meet is because I want to delete meets from the last of my array. So whichever meet I summoned the latest is going to be my latest meet, which is going to be at the very end of my vector. So that's considered last. Then I'm going to go with something like my last meet says pointer. Let's go with something like last meet, which points towards, let's say, something like a destroy function with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. Now, I think I spelled destroy wrong. Hold up, guys. DESTROY. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I might just this is not compulsory, but I'm gonna add a G engine that points towards a add-on screen. I'm gonna go with something like a add-on screen SCREEN debug message. So I'm gonna go with a G engine add-on screen debug message that's gonna go ahead and display a debug text on my window, which is gonna be requiring a few parameters. First is -1. How long do I want my text to be displayed on my window? I'd go with 1 second. And then what is going to be the color of my text? I'm going to use the F colors as structure using a scope resolution operator. I'm going to point towards maybe black. And then I'm going to go ahead and add text with a parentheses that says something like, maybe I might add my text in like a new line that says something like meat destroyed. Okay, exclamation, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Was that it? This was kind of easy, to be honest. I'm gonna go with like an else clause here. Okay, this is completely optional, but I'm gonna go ahead and add another G engine that points towards a add-on screen debug message. Let's go with something like a debug message. What this basically means is that I just explained it. I'm gonna be requiring a key. I'm gonna be requiring a time, maybe 1.f. I'm going to be requiring a color of my text, which is going to be, let's say, something like black again. And then I'm going to be requiring a text, the literal text that's going to say something like no meats left. Actually, no meats found to destroy. Exclamation. Okay, perfect. And then let's just end this with a semicolon. And I think that's actually about it, right? There can't be anything else. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down here. Whoops, let's go ahead and do that. Go down here, add a comment that says something like bind backspace function. SPACE function. For binding my backspace function, actually bind backspace action. To bind my backspace action, I'm going to go with EIC, which is basically enhanced input component that points towards bind action. Let's go with something like ACTION. That is a function which requires a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my action name, which in this case, it's going to be my backspace action. Whoops, what up, guys? Backspace action. Okay, and the second parameter is going to be a trigger type or a trigger event. So I'm going to go with something like a e-trigger event, which is going to be using a scope resolution operator to point towards, let's say, something like started. So if a backspace action has been started on this object, I want to do what's the memory address of my sharpshooter's function. Memory address of my sharpshooter's function tells me to do. The function is going to be my destroy summon function. Okay, and then I just ended with a semicolon. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to Control S to save the code, get my Unreal Engine up here real quick, go with Control Alt F11 to compile my code, and let's wait for it to compile real quick. There we go. I hope it compiles quick because usually it takes so long. While it's compiling, I might bring some water because hydration is kind of important. There we go, I think it's done. Okay, live coding succeeded. It didn't say path succeeded though. Let's go ahead and run the code real quick. I can click M if I hit backspace. It does not delete the M yet. My bad, guys. How's it gonna delete the M if I did not create an IA underscore backspace action? If I were to go to my Alex or my sharpshooter, I keep forgetting my class's name, and type something like input. So let's go with something, whoops, INPUT. There we go. Yo, I appreciate you, Nicole. Okay, that also means the world to me, guys. Okay, now let's go to something like content drawer. And then let's go with something like C/C++ classes, raycasting. Hold up, guys. Let me jog my memory real quick. I'm going to double click inputs. In my input, I'm going to create an action here. This is going to be called something like IA underscore backspace. Let's go with BACKSPACE. Okay, and that's about it. Next up, the thing that I'm going to do is click my sharpshooters as class again, go all the way down to my backspace action, and set my IA underscore backspace to it. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to open my IMC default. In my IMC default, I'm going to add another mapping. This mapping is going to be in charge of my IA underscore backspace, which executes every time I click backspace. So that's actually pretty much it. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this, hit Ctrl S to save the code, Ctrl Alt F11 to compile the code, and let's wait for it to compile. It shouldn't take that long to compile, to be honest. But this time I should be able to delete my object that I summoned type stuff. Okay, there we go, live coding succeeded. I'm going to go ahead and run the code. I can click M to go ahead and summon a lot of meats. If I click backspace, it does not really delete a meat for the... Why does it not delete a meat? Hold up. Am I binding everything correct? I have a backspace action. Okay, I just have a started action. I don't really have the second action. My bad, guys. For my second action, this is going to be, let's say, something like bind. Fine, I'll go with backspace. Let's go with something like backspace underscore pressed function. And then I'm going to go with enhance input component that points towards another bind action that requires a few parameters. First is going to be my action name, which is going to be something like my backspace action, and then a E trigger event, okay, which is going to be something like completed. So if my backspace action has been completed on this object, I want to do what my A sharp SHARP SHOOTER. Okay, what my A sharpshooters function tells me to do. This is going to be my backspace underscore released. Can't believe I actually forgot this part. This is like one of the most important parts when we try to bind stuff using inputs. We gotta always make sure that our input is being pressed and released. Okay, and then maybe under my summon action, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like bind destroy summon action. I'm gonna keep both of them kind of linked together. So I'm gonna go with something like enhance input component, which points towards my bind actions as function, which requires my action name. Should I go with backspace action or destroy summon action? Let's think. I might go with something like my backspace action. Let's go with something like backspace action. Okay, and then I want to go with something like a E trigger event. There we go. What up, guys? Let me maybe kind of fix this part up here real quick. E trigger event, which uses a scope resolution operator to point towards started. So if a backspace action has been started on this object, I want to go ahead and do what my ASHARP SHOTER, what my A sharpshooters is, let's say something like backspace. Actually, destroy summon function tells me to do. Okay, let's just go there. There we go. Forgot to do that. So let's go with something like destroy summon. Destroy summon function tells me to do. And then I'm going to Control S to save the code. And now if I would open my Unreal Engine and then hit something like Control Alt F11 to compile, this should work. There we go. Last time for some reason I forgot it. Compilation error, syntax error, line 181 of my sharpshooters C++ file. Maybe I had a tiny syntax error. There we go. Forgot I ended with a semicolon. Always make sure to like add semicolons. Small mistakes just, breaks your entire code. Let's see. Line 181 again. Okay, so it says raycasting syntax error. Need a pair of curly braces. Where is line 181? Oh, I see. My bad. I added memory address right there. Let's add it here. There. Now let's hit Control S to save the code. Open Unreal Engine and Control Alt F11 to compile the code. And this should work. Okay, there we go. Failed to link. Why am I getting all these errors again? Okay, it did say result succeeded. Hold up, it said result succeeded, just failed to link. I guess I gotta build it through my Visual Studio. This sometimes happens. It's like usually the reason it actually fails to compile even though the code is correct is because our live coding is currently enabled. So we should either disable our live coding or exit our entire program or kind of build a solution. 51 build, 1 failed. Let's go ahead and rebuild solution in that case. Result fails. Let's see. Okay, let's wait for the whole thing to go real quick. Okay, while it's actually building, I don't know what am I doing. I should probably drink some water. Make sure that you guys are being hydrated enough. There we go. Let's open Unreal Engine and Control Alt F11 to compile the code. This is going to work. While it compiles, going to go ahead and leave this down here real quick. And let's see. Compiling changes. Okay, I think since I just built it, it might take a few seconds to actually compile. Although, it should be almost done. Okay, let's see. What does UBA server even mean? Okay, so basically once this actually compiles, the thing that I am expected to see is every time I click M, I'm going to summon. Every time I click backspace, I'm going to destroy my summon. Okay. Why is it taking so long to compile? Does it always take that long? Okay, I don't think like moving it manually is actually going to do a thing. There we go, finally. I think moving did do the trick. Link error. Okay, fine. Hit Control S to save the code. I want to go ahead and save it all. Okay, I'm going to exit this and run it through Visual Studio because sometimes that's what it does. It says you to actually exit the entire program. This is very annoying when it comes to like Unreal Engine and programming in Unreal Engine using Visual Studio. I cannot really compile my code properly if I forgot what I wanted to say. If my live coding is enabled, so let's wait for it to open. While it's opening, let's just skim my binding function because it said failed to link. Summon function correct. That's correct. Okay, everything is correct. Run the code in case they didn't see that. Completed. M pressed, M released, destroy function, summon function, RMB released, RMB pressed, move function, 181. There was an error there before, but no more error here as well. No, everything is good. Okay, I don't know what's actually messing the program up, but I don't think it's anything big. Let's wait for it to run real quick. Why does it take so long to like actually run the code? Okay, let's see. I honestly might start doing mini challenges maybe from next week in my stream because this week I think it is like pretty hectic for me because of my college and all that. But from next stream I will definitely be adding some kind of community post where after a certain amount of likes I'm going to do push-ups and all that stuff. There we go. You guys could have said that I was what failed. Where is it failing? I don't understand. Backspace pressed, backspace release. Do I have those functions here? Oh, I did not. Okay, there we go. Well, no wonder I didn't see those. Let's add a comment here that says something like backspace functions. Where I'm going to go with something like a white function. I'm just going to copy them to save time. And then paste it here. This is going to be from a sharpshooter. Backspace, BACKSPACE. That is going to be backspace. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. Backspace underscore press. That's going to be backspace underscore released. RELEASED. And then this is going to be my Boolean check of is backspace pressed. That is going to be true. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. SPACE. What are my functions that I've called here? There we go. Backspace pressed, backspace released. I think that I'm just getting my red underlines here because it's just my Visual Studio kind of messing with me. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Backspace underscore pressed. Copy this. Give this here. Backspace underscore released. There, I think that's good. The red underline should disappear in a bit. Now let's hit Control S to save the code. I have valid functions here now. Let's hit that to save the code and run the program real quick. This should run pretty fast. Okay, let's see. There we go. I knew it. It should have run relatively faster. That was the issue all along. Unreal Engine opens now. Once Unreal Engine opens, I'm gonna run the program, and this time I should be able to actually delete my object based on every time I click backspace. There we go. Guys, it's so much better when like a program starts compiling faster. Let's go to content jar. Let's double click my new map, and then I'm gonna go ahead and run this. Every time I click M, a meat spawns. Every time I click backspace, the meat disappears. Let's spawn a bunch of meats. Wait, is it even spawning? There we go. Alright, guys, there we go. I need to be inside my program and actually summon the meats. Is it just me that is lagging? But every time I click M, backspace, I delete the meats. Is that just lag? It keeps saying meat destroyed, but my meat is not being destroyed from my vector. Maybe because I had to add some sort of pop underscore back function as well to my meat, because it just deletes my first meat. Like if I were to run the code again and show it to you. M, backspace. It destroys the meat, but if I have M, destroys one meat, the other meat does not destroy. So I gotta remove it from my vector as well, not just my Unreal's level. To do that, let's see what else could I do. Okay, destroy function. I'm pretty sure I need a pop underscore back. Okay, after I destroy my meat, I didn't really point towards destroy. I removed it from my vector, right? Dot the last. Where's my last? Summon meat, last. There we go. Maybe before my gengine add-on screen debug message, sp awned spawned meats as array dot the pop function, ending with a semicolon. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Let's open Unreal Engine and Control Alt F11 to compile real quick. Let's get my live coding up here. Now, while my program is compiling, I mean, it didn't take that long. There we go. I'm gonna run the code. Basically, what I'm expected to do is spam M's, meat spawns, backspace, 1 gone, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time I click backspace, my meat is being deleted. However, I want to try something else. I want to go to my instance. I want to go with R and make myself bigger. Honestly, I want to make myself smaller. There. I think that might be much better. Let's run the code. And there we go, bigger meat, so I have more room to actually see if they're literally spawning. Because for some reason, I get kind of trapped while actually seeing how many meats spawn. Because there we go, all I need is some space to spawn the meats. Whoops, I want to go in front, I mean. Okay, let's see if I can... Whoops. Did I just knock that away? Alright, now let's click backspace and see if every single meat is being deleted. While I hold the meat, nothing happens. I gotta actually physically press backspace to delete these meats. Yo, how you doing, Asher? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. There we go. That's actually pretty much... That's perfect, actually. Now what I will be working on is raycasting. So let's move on to like the raycasting. But I don't think I'm going to be completing the entire raycasting this stream. Or maybe I might actually save raycasting for the other stream, because I do have some college homework and stuff to do this stream. Although I did want it, I was like actually planning to stream way longer today because I did not stream yesterday and the before yesterday. The before yesterday because I had an exam yesterday because something urgent came up. That said, let me actually let's just see the code first for like the raycasting. If depending on how big it might be, I might skip or actually work on it. Okay, nice, bro. All right, so for my raycasting, apparently, let's get my mini projects up here. In the mini project, all I basically need is a shoot function where I go ahead and get my world. I check if my world is not null. If it isn't null, I get my player controller and cast it to check if the player controller that I'm talking about is the player controller that I currently have. And then I go ahead and get my mouse because I technically want my beams to shoot off my mouse's pointer and not my screen's center. Okay, and then I go ahead and create 2 variables that stores directions, okay? So, I mean, I could just go ahead and run this program because this is the code that I worked on 2 streams ago type stuff, but then I didn't have enough time to learn some of the syntax of my raycasting. That's where I kind of actually messed up on. Let's open this first. I'm going to hit something like, I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. Content jar, let's save it all. I'm gonna exit this. I just want to give you guys some kind of a preview as to what I'm going to be working on next stream. So let's go ahead and open this. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be working on next stream is going to be raycasting. If I were to double click my new map, it's almost the same program. If I hit M, I can go ahead and spawn bajillion meats. I'm just in first person here. Every time I click my right mouse button, I go ahead and shoot laser beams, which is invisible rays that gets visible using the draw debug helpers header files. Okay, and every time I shoot at my meat, it says meat hit. Every time I shoot at my floor, it says floor hit. Every time I miss, it says miss. Although this is just the very basics of raycasting, once I understand the logic behind raycasting, I will be working on let's say adding health systems and like different kinds of systems that does certain actions once a collision occurs type stuff. And maybe hopefully by next week or the week after that, I will be working on, let's say, UMGs, which is basically Unreal's UI type stuff, where every time I lose HP, I can literally see my HP decrease on my screen type stuff. That's let's exit this for the time being. And I might honestly end the stream here because I do gotta study for like my college exam. I got a quiz this Tuesday type stuff. And apparently my quiz had to be this Thursday, so I thought I'm kind of chill because I'm going to be working on the entire week, but apparently not. So let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I wanted to actually do more than just summoning, but then I thought might as well just work on summoning because this was a 3 days or like a 3 streams project. Work on movement, work on summoning, and work on raycasting. I'm done with the movement and I'm done with the summoning. Next stream is going to be raycasting. That's it. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like helps my algorithm turn, makes you smart, and subscribing like it turns up. That said, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well. So if you guys really enjoy my content and haven't followed me yet, make sure to follow me. The link will be in the description, and you guys can get access of my link through the bio or by typing exclamation socials on chat. That said, once my college is over, I will be streaming for like hours, maybe hopefully 5 hours, or I am kind of rooting for 8 hours if I could actually pull it. Because if you guys go to my very first streams when I didn't really have college, I used to like stream for about 5 to 6 hours on average, and then ever since my college started, I dropped down to 2 hours, and now that I have even more courses, dropped down to an hour. That's actually pretty insane. That's it. Join my Discord server as well. That's where I usually talk to you guys, chat with you guys, have general conversations. The link will be in the description, or you guys can get access to the link through my bio or by typing exclamation Discord on chat. That's it. I'll catch you guys next time to more video. Peace.